Hey there, Banditos. Welcome to our third annual live episode of the Dollar Bin Bandits. That's right, folks. We are not recording, or if you're watching this on Friday, it is recorded and you're just watching a replay. However, if it's Wednesday and you're watching us now, it's live. Okay. I'm Joe Marcello.
I'm Warren Phillips.
I'm Mike Farah.
And usually we like to fling open the doors of your local comic book shop and bring you interviews with your favorite comic book creators of yesterday and today, but we are not doing that today. Today, we're going to be chatting it up amongst ourselves. We're going to be discussing some of our favorites, some of the things we like, movies, comics, obviously, some of our favorite, let's say, collected editions that are coming up. Okay, but what's most important is we're celebrating ourselves for a change. Okay. We've spent the past 3 years busting our butts to get the Dollar Bin Bandits kind of, how we say, popular and, hip with the kiddies. Isn't that what they say? No,
I think they do.
They do, yeah.
They do now.
But at any rate, so this is us, guys. Congrats to us for making it this long in the podcast world, because there's hardly any of those these days, right?
Almost 70,000 downloads.
That's pretty damn impressive.
Yep.
We're creeping up on Joe Rogan territory.
Yeah.
I think we're the only podcast with 3 friends discussing their childhood passions.
I think so.
We cornered the market.
With the exception of maybe the other one I listened to this afternoon, but they don't talk about comics. They talk about movies, so it's
all right.
Totally
Come
different.
on, everybody talks about movies.
Nerds.
There are no other comic podcasts out there, only ours.
So we've received a couple of questions from listeners, because people actually listen to us at least 70,000 times. And we have some questions of our own that we're going to cover. If you're watching on YouTube, if it's working, God willing, maybe you can leave a comment and we'll see it. I am checking on YouTube currently right now. Make sure everything is running. I see someone by the name of Corey Phillips. She just said,
who is that?
Congrats and slay.
Oh, that would be my daughter.
Oh, and we also have a comment from a gentleman by the name of Deshaun Morrow.
Oh,
hey. He said,
our
hey,
boss.
guys. And
are we also on Facebook too?
Thank you for. I'm checking Facebook right now. I don't see it.
Well, people are watching it
right
through
now.
YouTube and they see it. So they're leaving comments. So they either want us to keep going or shut up. So one of the two.
There you go.
So
what are these questions that folks want to know, Joe?
Oh, here we go. Sorry. All right. I'm going to mute that. All right. So questions from that we received. What's your greatest find from a dollar bin?
Swinging first on that one.
Sorry?
You want me to swing first on that?
Sure, Mike.
I have to think about it, even though we wrote this down a while ago. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I'm pretty sure I got at least one McFarlane Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, from a dollar bin. I couldn't tell you which issue, but I'm pretty sure I pulled at least one. And I got to think that's probably my best from a dollar bin. But I'm probably wrong. Oren?
I have a few. I'll start off with the big one. I think I've mentioned this before. I pulled the Crow #1 from a dollar bin, which I was very excited about.
Nice.
Which if
I think Joe was with me.
I'm stealing that shit. No.
You know exactly where it is. I found a 1948 comic book that had Mandrake the Magician in it. I found that for $1. Jim
What
Lee's
kind of condition was that in?
It was actually in pretty good condition. I was really surprised. That was at that indoor flea market in Connecticut, Joe.
Yes. Yeah.
Jim Lee's first work for Marvel in Alpha Flight. I got that for $1. The first appearance of Doomsday. I also got a Walt Simonson autographed random copy of X Factor out of a dollar bin too. So those are my top 5.
I've found some pretty. I mean, they were cool to me. You know, in that same flea market with Oren, I found a bunch of like old Superman, Green Lanterns, and then there was like the random Smurfs that apparently that is worth something like, I don't know, like $75 or something like that, which I thought was hilarious. And I only got it at your recommendation. He's like, no, you should get that. And I go home to check it out. It was like, I don't know, 50, $75, something like that. And then it was cool, it was old. And I was at not a flea, it was like an antique store on Cape Cod a couple years back. And not that I don't have this one, but it was like G.I. Joe #1. But it was, like, I think I've bought this comic at this point probably 4 times. But for some reason, this one, it just had this really old, weathered, not busted up, but it was, like it was red. It was in the plastic, but even the plastic had, looked like it was, it's seen some wear too. So I picked it up. It was only like a couple of dollars, but I had to grab that. It seems like anytime I see that comic, I feel the need to buy it.
I'm sadly the same way with Youngblood #1. I don't know why. If I see Youngblood #1 out there, I pick it up. So part of me is still living in 1993 that something's going to really happen with this at some point soon.
It's going to make a comeback.
My children will be saddled with too many of these.
Look, that IP is floating around somewhere. Okay, someone is working on that movie.
That is true.
So another question that we had is, any chance John Byrne would ever consider an interview?
Well, if anyone knows John Byrne, we'd love to ask him.
If we can get in touch with the right people.
Well, he lives in. All I know so far is that I believe he still lives in Connecticut, and he's never done an interview in the past few years. So that would be about it.
I at one point got in contact with the art agent or his art agent, and he pointed me to John's website. Where there is a large disclaimer that he is not and does not do press or appearances. So I'm going to say that that's going to be a tough one. And this was, I think, a question from Mark Florio, who is our latest reviewer on Apple Podcasts. So thanks, Mark.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mark. And thank you, Shane.
Yeah, thank you, Shane. Because now we can
take all the congratulations we can get.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's keep this train rolling along. How about there's some comic book movies coming out. Not as many as we probably want. Certainly not as many as that we need, because I think there was a period where we got inundated. They're going to cut back on the comic movies a little bit, which I am certainly in favor of, so that the quality is better. That being said, we saw some costume reveals lately, specifically of Wolverine for the new Deadpool Wolverine movie. And within the past couple of days, we've seen Superman and Mr. Terrific. So is there someone flying a plane or something around anywhere?
Yeah, that might be... my air conditioning compressor is right over there.
Oh, okay. There
it usually never gets picked up on my mic, but because I guess this is now supercharged.
Got it. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry, everybody.
That's okay.
Maybe mute we'll mute when we're not talking.
It's all good.
Even though we all like to talk.
So let's kick that off, Mike. What are your thoughts?
All right. Let's see. Wolverine. So very excited that he's in any kind of, costume, which other than sort of the black leather stuff that we got in the X-Men films, It's just very exciting to have bright primary colors and him in a blue and yellow suit. Like everyone else on the entire planet, I am hoping against hope that we see the mask, because I think that would really take it over the top. But if we don't see the mask, at least we got the costume. I think it looks pretty good. I'm missing a little bit of those, that little V in the boots, which I like to see, which is completely impractical, but looks really cool in the comics. But otherwise, hey, we gotta take what we can get. We have a freaking Deadpool Wolverine movie. I mean, how exciting is that? When we go through the other costumes, or should we do Wolverine and then? Okay,
hey, whatever you want, however
I like.
Hits
all right, so I'll just keep going because I'm just gonna steamroll this whole section here. Superman. I'm a thumbs up with Superman. To tell you the truth, I really like that they're bringing back. I guess this is a theme. I'm really excited they're bringing back the primary colors. I like the trunks. You can count me in favor of that. The shield, I think, works with this particular costume. I was like, why are they bringing the sort of Kingdom Come shield into and then sort of going retro with the colors? But I think it kind of works. And then I love that the cape has the shield on the back as well. Mm-hmm. So I love that they're going backwards, but then still trying to keep it a little bit more modern. I'm not as big a fan of what seems to be a little bit of the bulkiness of the costume, which seems to be an issue, throughout superhero films. I think they're bringing in a little bit of New 52 like lines and sort of sectioned off the costume.
And the collar.
But overall, I'm very, very happy. And the guy who plays Superman, whose name escapes me, and I'm not about to look it up right now, but someone else can do it, and it's probably hard to pronounce, I think looks like Superman. So that's always key. And then Mr. Terrific looks literally like his name, Terrific. I mean, he's right off a comic book page, and I don't know what anybody could find wrong with his costume. It's almost a literal translation.
I'm sure someone will.
Yeah. Well, we only have 1 out of 3 bandits have weighed in, so maybe someone will call it unterrific.
I want to hear what Mr. Superman over there thinks of all this.
Me? Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, look, from what I've seen so far of the costume, I really like it. I like what Mike said, the primary color look. I really enjoy that. I'm hoping, and this is not a knock on it, but this is not the only version of the suit that we're going to see. Like there could be another incarnation, maybe through a, like a flashback of some kind, or, he gets another suit at some point, because that's just the way things are. But I like it. And I think that it will probably look better on the screen after they've put, like visual effects and stuff on it to make it look a little form fitting. Because, in the pictures, it looked like some guy who happened to be on set just took it with his phone. It looks like a Halloween costume, the way it fits, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Not that it looks bad. The style is cool, but it just looks, the way it's sitting on him or fitting on him, looks like a Halloween costume. But Mr. Terrific looks dope. Like you said, I mean, looks like pretty much the same way he did on like the Flash series. Painted face and all. Wolverine, I'm all in for that, man. And I think we'll get they'll do like what they did with Thor. He showed up, he had the helmet on, he took it off, and that was the last you ever saw of the helmet. I'm sure he'll have the mask, because in some scenes you saw he had full sleeves and the sleeves go away, so he may have the I'm sure he'll have the mask for like a minute, and maybe we'll see other versions of Wolverine wearing other versions of the costume, like the brown it was like brown and yellow version, which I was more in favor of. and maybe you'll see the black leather too. I think that'll be dope. But one thing, if you watch the X-Men '97 cartoon, they make that same like reverse joke of the movies, which I appreciated. So yeah, there's some good stuff out there. They're finally giving the fans what they want to see. Make the characters look like the characters.
I'm just hoping. I like the fact there's no scales on the Superman suit, because that drove me up a wall watching it the past couple of years. I just hope they get it right, and this is the Superman we're going to have for a while, and the stories we're going to have for a while, and it's not going to be, okay, we're going to try someone different, and then we're going to do this. And just hopefully this works, and we all get behind it, and this is something that can go forward in the future.
Yeah.
Reset is not what we want to see. Yeah.
No.
Even if it's not good, just course correct and just stick with it.
I have one I'd like to bring up of a comic book character coming to screens this summer, to some negative fanfare. I'm talking about the Crow reboot. That
Good
is, it looks like the movie Taken. Now there's all sorts of wacky things. I'm a big fan of the Crow City of Angels. I'm the only person in America who owns it on VHS and DVD.
I do too.
Yes,
I have it on Betamax.
Yeah, and
Laserdisc.
I had the script. I just read that. But my thing is, like, I didn't like the trailer, but are we so in love with Brandon and the original Crow that we can never, ever, ever accept anyone taking the name Eric Draven and redoing this? Like, would anything be successful if it had the same name of just saying it's rebooting the Crow?
I don't think it was so much that but it's such a far departure from what we've seen. I mean, it's just the name, the Crow, and a guy named Eric Draven, and like you said, Taken, like Liam Neeson painted face, except he's shredded, when they first announced this, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to it, because the rumor at the time was that it was going to be a little bit more closely aligned to the original comic. Now, I love the movie. I love the movie because we love the movie and it was awesome. But hardcore Crow fans had a problem with the movie because it was not so much like the comic. And that's what I thought we were going to get. Now it's like, if, at the time in was it 90, 91 when it came out, that style and look was new, this industrial, kind of goth metal look was like a new thing. 9 Inch Nails was still, like they were new and it was a big deal. So it kind of, fit. But we've seen that at this point, a lot. So, I don't know. Maybe they try to, go in a different direction. But, you're going to have the Crow. You need the long hair and, it kind of just goes with it, I thought. But I'll see it.
There's better be a Skeleton Cowboy in it, because he got shafted.
He got shafted, and I was very upset by that.
I think it was Michael Berryman was supposed to play him, or did play him in the guy from The Hills Have Eyes. He played the Skeleton Cowboy, and they have footage of it. You can look it up on YouTube. The sound's kind of crappy and stuff like that, just because it's the raw footage. But that's kind of stink. Like, you're in this movie. It's a huge movie, and your part got cut. Eddie from the Batcave. Eddie, where's your episode for this week, dude? Come on.
We're waiting.
Yes, we are. We'll interrupt this so we can watch.
I'm going to interrupt this to admit that I don't think I've seen the new trailer or costume for the Crow. So sadly, or maybe happily, I will just ignore that the entire thing is happening and just live on with my, delusion that Brandon Lee will be the only Crow and in that costume. So
You're probably better off.
that's my
And just so
yes.
everyone-
I asked him to go ahead, Joe.
Oh no, I'm just saying, just so everyone knows, Eddie is on vacation, guys.
Oh,
So
Okay.
he's letting
Well,
us know.
thanks for checking in from vacation, Eddie.
Yeah.
That's some dedication. So we appreciate that. And I had asked in the chat, Joe was talking about hardcore Crow fans, and I kind of wanted to know from you guys, what would you call hardcore Crow fans? And Oren had a good one, Crow Bros. But what about?
that's how I roll.
I mean, it's very misogynistic, Oren. I mean, what if there are female Crow fans?
I think bro, in this environment we live in, bro encompasses everybody.
Okay.
I see. Bros are just everyone. Everyone's a bro.
Yeah.
All bros.
So it's like
It's the bro
Banditos.
zone.
We had this discussion about Banditos, even though that's a gendered word. We can make it for everybody. Joe,
Yes.
what's the red alert about? Why did the scene just go red? Are you angry about my Crow comments?
That's the cut him off light.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike's drunk and rambling.
Yeah.
Get him off the
What's
stage.
new?
Get the crow out of your mouth.
So
All
I
right.
had a
Yes, go ahead.
show
Please.
question, or what I would think people might ask if they were actually more engaged in submitting more questions about the show, which is, why have recently we been recording solo interviews rather than getting together? This is like the first time we've gotten together, I think maybe even since Mike Carlin at the beginning of the year. And the answer to that, I have two answers to that. One, life. We're all busy family guys, and it's difficult for us to all make all of these different interviews. And then two, all the guests want different times. Some of them are on the West Coast, some of them are in London, and it's extremely difficult when it's not our usual time for all three of us or even two of us to make it. So that's why you've been seeing this sort of deluge of solo interviews, and hopefully, I mean, that will continue, unfortunately, but hopefully we can get together for more interviews going forward. So a little show note there for the hardcore banditos that are wondering.
Yeah, thank you for addressing that. Also, Corey Phillips keeps making comments that we're just normal men. We're just innocent men.
Yes, that's been a big video around my house. I use that as an excuse for all my actions around the house.
I have not heard anyone else say that. I heard it once about 5 or 6 months ago on
What is that
another
from?
show.
It's, if you look it up, it's a British kids show, and it's
Yeah.
a talking dog and this woman, and I don't know what question she asks him, but he just says that to her.
And they start laughing. They're just,
Yes.
I'm just normal men, just innocent.
Just
And
innocent man.
and she's like, you are? And they're just laughing their heads off, and they're trying to keep a straight face in the whole thing, which is hilarious.
It's just fun that my daughter is.
Sounds like Paul
taking the
McCartney.
time Oh,
Where is your
Yeah.
background?
The old background question again. Eddie, yes, I think you probably asked that before, and I've probably answered it. What can I say? I don't have a finished basement is really what it comes down to. I think both of you guys are in finished basements where you can sort of decorate. So I am at one end of a dining room, and I think I might get a divorce if I were to put up big posters behind me. So
just get a green
you
screen.
get this lovely triptych of windows, and you know what? I want all the attention on me. I don't want you looking in the background. So that's the reason, Eddie. But I appreciate the question.
Is there a closet in your house that's not being used that you could just maybe put like one poster behind it and just sit there for it?
Instead of between two ferns, it's between three windows,
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, it's a Zach Galifianakis homage. Maybe.
I will say,
yeah, maybe
honesty,
I'll get in a closet. I do have some like figures and comics and stuff in one of the closets, but yeah.
Joe's background and my
soundproof
background.
things.
Yeah, it becomes a good icebreaker because guests will say, "Oh, I like that. What you have in the background, this and that," and then you can start a conversation. So when things are loose, and then when we start interviewing, it's a lot easier.
Also,
with you, they just kind of feel like it's a tribunal.
If you're on a non-related, when you're on a
I do judge everybody that I'm talking to.
When you're on a non-comic, related video call, and people are like, "What the hell's behind you?"
Yeah,
makes things go real
that
well.
could be a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to all my guests about Windows by Anderson.
Yeah,
and the different types of glass and
so is that double pane glass behind you? Is that insulated? Because I can't hear anything.
We also talk about the shades and why I don't have curtains.
All right, let's keep this chugging along, fellas. All right, let's be mindful of our time.
Always be mindful.
All right, look,
that's one of our catchphrases.
It is. Well, it used to be, not anymore. The comic. Some of the comic projects we have coming out later this year into next year, they're such as we have 0 Hour, the 30th anniversary. Looking forward to that one. The Last Halloween, Identity Crisis, 20th anniversary. Looking forward to that as well. And then like anything else anything big, perhaps like Spider-Man, anything from Marvel that we're that's not listed. Nothing, guys. Come on. Oh, Oren doesn't know because he's not up.
So Oren is like putting on his earmuffs.
0 Hour. I remember that from 30 years ago, but that's about it.
Well,
there you go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's for sure.
We're very hopeful. I'll sort of knock on wood silently that we'll have some guests coming by to talk about 0 Hour. I don't want to jinx it, but that could be happening. We're very excited for that. Last Halloween, right? So that's the third in a trilogy with Jeff Loeb.
Mm-hmm.
And oh boy, here goes.
Like you're glitching, right?
Yeah, I am glitching.
What'd you do?
Oh, snap.
I don't know. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can still hear me, I'm going to continue talking, and then I'll try to fix my my screen. So Last Halloween, right? Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. Of course, we lost Tim Sale fairly recently, and so they're soldiering on with Adam for that last tale. And then, from Marvel, all I can think of is Spider-Man Reign 2. That would be coming up, and I'm not sure what else from Marvel is a big thing. So let me go try to fix my camera, and you guys continue to chat.
Well, Joe, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Because how long do you give a book now to catch you, to get interested in it? Because the prices of books are so high at this point. It's not like you just throw $1 down and be like, okay, you know what? If it's not great, it's not great. Like $5-6, like you really, how long do you give a book before you have to either cut it or decide to go with it?
Probably like 2 or 3 issues. Unless they just wow me out of the gate. So, I haven't been really diligent weekly reading comics for the past few months. Just, life gets in the way, work, family, all that sort of thing. But I'll catch up later on and I'll jump back into series, and like Thor, those series have been great. Hulk has been really good. The series from Jeff Johns, his whole universe that he's created. Like 2 or 3 issues, and if it's good, I'll keep going. I've been lazy, so what I've noticed is, since it's digital, a lot of the stuff, everything now is digital. You can just wait, and if you have the patience, you wait long enough, you can get them all collected together, probably for a little cheaper. And you can kind of skirt around that, but that's usually my cutoff. There's a few, like the Garbage Pail Kids comic, which I bought the first of, And I was like, this is a piece of shit. And I don't know why I expected more from it. And so
you were really expecting like the Dark Knight or something like that.
I look, it was more out of, nostalgia. I was a huge fan of the cards. My parents hated them. Like, why are you collecting that? I mean, I'm kind of wish, I was younger and this came out when I was a kid. I could like run up to my dad. See, it's a comic. He's like, it's a piece of garbage. Why are you reading that?
You thought Scotty Snotty's backstory was going to be a lot deeper. And, like, why he had such nasal issues.
Well, so, all right, I joke, but Atom Bomb, like there was I think the premise of the comic was that there was like a military experiment on these kids or people, and they're basically side effects as a result. So it was stupid, but yeah. But Atom it's Bomb still going.
Yeah.
So do not recommend on the Garbage Pail Kids series?
No, I'm going to say that's a hard no.
Oh,
sorry.
See?
Noted.
Yeah, I asked Joe before, how many issues do you give a book when you decide whether you want to keep going or to cut it? Because, I was saying before, prices of comic books have gone up or they keep going up. It's a hefty investment each book.
Yeah, it's a good question. So there's for an ongoing series, I mean, it's kind of like, it's kind of like streaming series right now, because everything is competing for your attention. And it used to be, or at least for me, I would give like a streaming series at least 2 to 3 to 4, maybe 5 episodes. I check in with reviews to see it, like to verify, like, am I off on this? And I think that's where I used to be with comics as well. Nowadays, I'd probably give it like, I always want to give it more than one, because you can be like, okay, it's slow out of the gate. Let me see what happens with issue 2. But I don't know about more than beyond 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys in line with that? Eddie says I do 6 for the first story arc. I mean, that's giving a good amount of leeway to the new,
Eddie's
creator.
hardcore though. I've seen he's when every Wednesday, the man he's stacks of stuff. So I mean, he's in it.
I'd say if it wasn't for Eddie, I would have no idea what's going on in comics nowadays. Like I watch his show every week, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what's going on. I get it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he's the only, with the exception of Ali Tarantino, that like reads everything. But yeah, I remember those days when I used to buy everything for kids, for everything. Anywho, moving on. So let's discuss something that's probably near and dear to the three of us, and that is the Marvel versus DC and Amalgam series that they're putting together. A new, was it anniversary edition omnibus of like everything together. I think that comes out later this year, as I recall.
Yeah, September.
Okay.
So there are 2 omnibuses. What's the plural of omnibus? Omnibi?
Omnibuses.
Right, exactly. One for all the individual Marvel versus DC, and then one for the 1996 big blowout that was DC versus Marvel and the Amalgam stuff. So
yeah,
crazy amount of material in these things.
That's a lot. It was a lot back then too, in my opinion. I mean, those first set of like Marvel and DC series were cool because they were just kind of one-offs and they were fun. And then you had the full Marvel versus DC series, which that first part of it I enjoyed the hell out of. But it was all those subsequent, amalgam issues and series that were a bit, it got a bit much. Like it was long, drawn out, and I mean, they ended a whole series after that, but it was, it got a little long in the tooth.
I just want to give everyone a heads up. There's a bad thunderstorm going on.
I was.
Here, so
I mean, if we want to go with this.
Bad thunderstorm.
Yeah. Just in case I start to glitch, that's what's going on.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
Well,
yeah, please.
Same here. There's not a bad thunderstorm, but I seem to have not a great connection either. But anyway, what was I saying? So, for the Amalgam stuff, or the Marvel versus DC, the big crossover in 1996, I was out of comics at that point. And I think, Oren, you were as well. Joe, you were still in it, right?
Yeah, I mean, once I started, I was never really out. I wasn't in it as much.
Yeah. So this was during my sort of like break and hiatus for a good, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years. But I went back and found it, and it's kind of crazy. The mini series, Oren, if you haven't read anything about it, was like, it's after the bottom fell out of the market. So this is why it even came about. I think Marvel and DC were kind of desperate at that point, and to drum up some sort of interest. And it has some of the characters aren't the classic characters, and a lot of the costumes are not the classic costumes. Like one of the Thor costume is not the classic Thor costume, and it looks really odd, and it's sort of very unsatisfying when you go back and read it and be like, oh, this isn't the real Thor costume.
Right.
And so I don't know. It wasn't, but I thought the Amalgam stuff was at least interesting. In terms of base, do you know what that? I keep going to Oren because I don't know if he knows anything about what these things are. But the Amalgam, if you don't get completely electrocuted in the next 5 minutes.
I was going to say it took place after 1993.
Yeah,
I can't help telling you.
So what happened is, during this miniseries, I'll give you a quick rundown, and then we can kind of maybe go into some of these because they're kind of fun. As part of this big crossover, there was like a character named Access or something that allowed the characters basically merged together. And so they had these comics, these new characters based on like merged together Marvel and DC characters. So things like, let me get my nerdy notes out here. Doctor Strange Fate, which was, of course, Dr. Fate and Doctor Strange, actually with Professor X into the mix. Dark Claw, which is Batman and Wolverine smushed together. Super Soldier, which is Superman and Cap. Amazon Storm and Wonder Woman, yada, yada, yada. So I just thought that was the oddest thing that could ever come out of a crossover between these two. First of all, that the crossover was happening, and then that they would not only put their properties up to combine, but then to like actually merge the characters together to be all new characters. I thought that was kind of ballsy. Now the results, not super great books. Not great to read. The premises were more interesting than the actual like execution. Did you think that, Jeff?
Yeah, I well said, because like some of them went on for a couple issues, I think. But it like they were the type of thing that you wanted to kind of wow the reader, saying, "Oh yeah, that's a cool combination, and this is how that character would interact." Combinations of both personalities, like Bat Claw, I think it was like Wolverine and Batman.
Right.
Dark Claw. And drawn in the animated series style.
Oh, yeah, they did one of those, yeah.
And, that was cool. But 2-3 pages, it's all I need. I don't need a whole issue.
Right.
So, yeah, it was a lot of that stuff, like Iron Lantern and, all right, I get it. Move on. So, but whatever, like for me, it was the main series that was cool. Seeing Superman and Hulk fight, like seeing those, Storm and Wonder Woman, I think they were the ones who fought. That was the fun part of it. So,
I thought it'd be fun to go through some of these matchups. We don't have to go through them all and get everybody's quick opinion on them, because that's what everybody does anyway before this series. Is like, what would happen if Thor fought Superman and whatever. So we have Aquaman versus Namor, obviously. So Aquaman wins in that scenario, which I don't know. I don't know about that one. I think that they're probably pretty darn even, but they're both like kings of their realms, right?
Both Atlantis and their versions, I think.
But Submariner's a lot more vicious and a lot more.
That's what I was
cunning.
thinking.
I would say he'd probably do something really underhanded and get the win on that.
Yeah. Although Aquaman at this point, was he like all hooked up?
Yeah. It was Hook.
I think maybe.
Aquaman.
But anyway, I think also just Aquaman was more well known than Namor. I think some of how this played out was like popularity contest. Elektra beats Catwoman. I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
Catwoman was a more popular character, but Elektra's an assassin and Catwoman's like a thief. So
that's all she does is kill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. Flash beating Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Unless anybody has another opinion on that. Robin beats Jubilee. I mean, I guess. I mean, Jubilee has powers. Yeah, exactly. Good one, Oren. Yeah, that's a who cares one. Silver Surfer beating the Green Lantern. I think Joe might have a issue with that. What do you think?
I don't know. Whatever. I'm not. I don't get upset about this anymore. If this were Joe back then, I probably would have a major issue with it. I don't know. They're both these cosmic beings, right? One has got all this power bestowed upon him from Galactus, and then the other one has a ring that can do whatever you imagine it can do. So I don't know. I like green.
Yeah, I go with Silver Surfer on it.
Yeah, I
think Oren's done here. Goodbye. No.
That's the final.
Oren, we seem to have lost you.
Oren, what? Something's wrong with your camera, Oren. It must be the rain.
Yeah.
And then
Eddie thinks it's the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, thank you, Eddie. See?
Well, I know
and then Thor beats Shazam, or Captain Marvel, as we like to call him. So it's like a god versus someone with
combination of gods.
Many gods?
Right.
I would think that would give
one god versus a few. I don't.
But Thor is created for battles. Shazam's created. He's still learning what he can do.
And he's a boy. He's a boy with a lot of power.
Yeah.
Oh golly gee.
Hey. Don't mock him.
Yeah.
Oh,
what do you get against
I forgot.
G?
You're a president of the Shazam fan club too. Only before 92 though.
Yeah, that's all getting old school.
Yeah.
One thing about
Orange
Shazam
only tattoo is the
have,
Shazam shield.
Why does he wear that short cape? Why does he have a short cape? And why does he wear it against the side? Like I remember when I was a kid, I had the superpowers figures of Shazam, and I kept putting the cape in the back, and then you see like on the box, like he's holding over the side.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jeff Johns version.
Fashion.
The Jeff Johns Frank Quietly version. They kind of straightened it and they put a hood on it, and he looked much better.
Yes.
Put a hood on it.
They put a hood on it.
Fixed costume. Put a hood on it.
Look, you put a hood on.
I think the short.
That applies in a lot of instances.
The short cape is probably more practical. Right? I mean, like what was there? Edna Mode in The Incredibles point about like capes getting caught in all kinds of things. Exactly.
True.
I don't know. So that was it for the editorially decided battles. Then there were 5 battles where they asked the fans to vote on. And so it was Superman versus a Hulk, and the fans chose Superman. I'm a huge Hulk fan, but I got to give it to Superman. There.
I mean, come on.
I know. And Joe would probably delete me from this live cast.
Spider-Man
beats Superboy. I don't know why Spider-Man and Superboy are fighting, honestly.
Because they're both supposed to be teenagers.
Yeah, because Superboy is a bit of a douche, so,
Yeah.
You know what? I think it was Ben Reilly Spider-Man. So
so that's really in the who cares?
Two douches.
Oh, so
Yeah,
two
kind of.
douches.
Batman beats Captain America.
I don't know about that.
I mean, Captain America actually has some elevated stuff.
Yeah.
Captain America. He could do this all day.
Right. That's what he's known for.
But he doesn't have the ingenuity that Batman has.
Yeah, but he can just break whatever Batman's throwing at him and stuff like that. He's ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
Be patriotic for what you're
or in the might equals right guy.
And another thing about America.
Wolverine beats Lobo. I loved Lobo, but
I don't know.
That's another popularity thing, I think. And then Storm beats Wonder Woman. That one I don't. Yeah, I can't get behind.
He's gonna zap her with
Wonder Woman's a demigod,
right?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was that was Marvel versus DC and DC versus Marvel.
NFL Super Pro,
quite the credit, but NFL Super Pro did not fight anybody. What would be NFL Super Pro's equal on the DC side?
The DC side,
Bibbo,
the Wonder Twins.
The Wonder Twins.
What was the Superman's horse's name? Something like that.
What is this? Do they all have like crypto? Is Crypto only the dog?
Crypto's the dog.
Crypto's the dog.
There was a
but
cat.
And then there are additional pets, right?
Yeah,
there's a few
super
of them.
pets. Yeah.
I don't know the name of the horse.
Yeah.
NFL Super Pro has no equal, so there is no.
I was going to say, I don't think NFL Super Pro has an equal.
It was a trick question.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's the type of question I enjoy. So thank you for, what is our episode, our third anniversary episode without a NFL Super Pro reference?
Just want to let everybody know.
Go ahead, Oren.
Real quick, so we don't forget that. If you're looking for some comfortable clothing this summer, head over to TeePublic.
It's a live read, guys. We got a commercial.
Go to TeePublic.
Ad read.
Type in $1 Bandits. We have a whole bunch of T-shirts there. You can make them into shirts like this. You can make T-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, sweatshirts, whatever you like with our $1 Bandits logo. Our buddy Sean McMillan, who couldn't be here tonight, he's an absolute genius. He creates these wonderful logos for us. And go to TeePublic. Shop to your heart's desire. Buy it for your friends, your family. Buy them for holidays coming up. Just go out and buy things, folks.
That's it.
That's called being a professional.
That was in and out like a true ad man.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
That's how I roll.
Well, while we're doing show announcements, I might as well announce that soon, maybe as early as tomorrow, we're going to launch a review contest. And so, we're always begging you guys for reviews on Apple Podcasts and elsewhere. But now, if you do it during the period of which we are going to figure out, you will be entered for a chance to win 30 for our third anniversary dollar bin finds, dollar comics, like a grab bag that I will put together. And anybody who leaves a review, you can take a screenshot of the review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you leave the review, and send it to dollarbinbandits@gmail.com, and you will be entered into the contest, and somebody will get 30 $1 comic book finds. You may find some treasure in there. You may not.
Can other bandits
30
play?
Comics to read.
What's that? Can other bandits play? Can we be no? Do
you guys not well, if you have not left a review, I'm going to say yes.
Oh, I'm going to review the hell out of this.
Bo Jarcello is writing another review.
Yeah, exactly. Owen pull-ups.
Can we get the fast talker guy to read all the
micro machines? Yeah, guy. Yeah.
Right.
So we were going to talk about, I don't know if you guys want to talk about the other omnibus, which has all of the other individual crossovers. So stuff like Superman versus Amazing Spider-Man, which is the granddaddy of them all. and Uncanny X-Men versus the New Teen Titans, which I think is mostly regarded as probably the best of the individual crossovers. That was with Chris Claremont and Walter Simonson. But they also have the Batman Punisher ones. I remember, I think there was a Chuck Dixon JRJR one that was really good on that. What else was there? Spider-Man and Batman, Green Lantern, Silver Surfer from our buddy Ron Mars.
Right.
Joe just had a medical episode a second ago. I'm like, oh, you're reading that off. So I'm just checking in on my friend to make sure he's okay.
Trying to keep from sneezing, and at the same time, I yawned. So my chest was about to explode.
I was going to say that's almost an alien moment.
You might have seen a chest burster.
I'm glad we're recording this because I was looking down, reading some stuff. So I'm gonna have to come back and find this.
Internet gold.
Did the red lights turn on?
No. That's Joe's emergency.
What's the use of the red lights if we don't have the...
Where's my red lights? We've got to get to the long distance dedications.
I always dial 911 on my phone when I'm talking to Joe.
Yeah, please.
Just in case. I can just hit that one last one.
One more button.
Get him the help he needs.
That's good.
Right.
That's good. That's Bandits looking out for Bandits.
Yeah,
that's right.
Anyway, you guys have a favorite of these crossovers? Anything you'd like to talk about with them?
I'll talk about it. No, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say that's probably more what I'm more looking forward to than the actual Marvel versus DC series is those collected editions, because those were solid stories. Like there was those solid issues in and of themselves.
That's I say back in my day, the one crossover that nobody really talks about that I really liked was the Batman Grendel crossover. That was just Matt Wagner, because he was doing Batman at the time too. I thought the Batman Predator one wasn't too bad that they did.
Those Predator versus anything were pretty cool.
Yeah, those Dark Horse ones. I mean, they did the first Alien versus Predator before it became a movie, and that was like how sort of Dark Horse took off. Like I'm looking at some of them. Superman Fantastic Four. That was, if I'm not mistaken, Alex Ross, wasn't that? Or Dan Jurgens and Alex Ross together?
Say what now?
It was that big like Treasury edition one. You know, when Alex Ross was making those big ones. Am I getting
so there? I remember there was a Superman one, there was a Wonder Woman one, there's a Batman one.
Right.
I don't remember.
But I think there was a Superman FF one. I may be. I don't know. I'll have to look.
I don't
it up
remember,
after
but
this,
it doesn't mean that didn't exist. Eddie, you know anything about this? Eddie?
He's our go-to.
Ron Mars, I know, was on
vacation.
Silver Surfer Superman. I think Ron Mars and Ron Lim are buddies, the Rons.
The Ron and Ron.
So yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff in there. And if nothing else, it has, as I said, Superman versus Spider-Man, which is probably, well, it was the first one, and then X-Men versus New Teen Titans. So that's worth the price of admission there. Do you think there are any other would you be looking forward to any other Marvel DC crossovers if they did them again? Or you think we're done and we've done enough and who cares?
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna do it, I mean, just don't do the same stuff. Do something new that makes sense. That'd be cool, because they still. So, and I think maybe Eddie can actually back me up on this. There was they made reference to a crossover with Marvel and DC in, I want to say, a Thor comic about a year or two ago. And it had to like, they didn't come out and say it, but they alluded to it in a Thor comic where they break through reality into another reality and say you're going to battle with these people from another world. And it was cool because it stirred things up, as I recall, with talk of, and I don't know if you guys remember it, Marvel. This is when DC was going through a lull, and they were talking about, well, maybe Marvel is going to buy up all of DC's comics or all their IP. And I'm like, that was mind blowing because how, it's like WCW and WWE, when that happened, it all comes back to wrestling. Like that was a big deal. So, I think there were, as I recall, rumblings of maybe doing another crossover down the road, and they were planting the seeds of it. So I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see, the newer versions of these characters. Maybe like the new Superboy, Jonathan Kent fighting, another character, stuff like that, because these characters have kind of evolved over the past few years. Oh, Eddie said he didn't remember that. Remember Kent was in Thor. Okay. Look, I'll look for it, okay?
And you might as well just get Eddie on one of these shows one of these days.
Yeah, Eddie, come on, man. What is this? Jeez.
You're our go-to.
We need to extend a formal invitation to Eddie. Eddie, we're gonna have you on.
Yeah, you're gonna get.
I agree, Joe. From an unfortunate, like, sort of a business standpoint, I think they will do more crossovers when things get really bad,
right?
Like business-wise. Although now that they both have, big conglomerate business daddies, both Marvel and DC, maybe it will never get to the point where they feel like they're, threatened to be shut down, because they can always just be like this little corner of Disney or this little corner of, who owns DC now? I mean, whatever, Discovery.
Discovery. Warner Discovery.
So maybe, those, what's it called? Incentives aren't there anymore from that standpoint, but who knows?
Well, Warner doesn't have to. You think
we'll ever see it in, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Marvel doesn't have to do that. I mean, look, they're printing money. They got Disney on their side. They don't need to do that. They want to, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. So they really don't have any reason to do that. These two companies took advantage of the state of the market at the time, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Think we'll ever see it in movies?
No. Like you'll see
the superhero genre goes like to the point that nobody's going to see them anymore. They won't
it's going to have to like shit the bed overnight for that to happen. I mean, it's not gonna, it's not going to happen anytime soon, unless they do like analogs of these characters in some creative fashion, like a Deadpool type of thing where they're hopping realities, and there is a Superman type, maybe Sentry or something like that, and then you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, I don't think you're going to see that. Sorry.
Not the answer Mike wanted.
You made me upset.
Sorry.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
But it makes me sad.
Well, let's not do that. Well, what else do we have in our what do we have on our schedule? Did we cover everything? Did we talk enough about comics?
I mean, I think we did. Is there anything else you guys want to talk? Is there anything we should tell folks about the future of the show? There are no major shakeups. We're going to keep delivering.
Future.
So I don't know if I told you guys, but we've been bought out by the National Enquirer, and we're going to have to do 2 stories a week on Wolf Boy.
Yeah.
No, we're going to keep going with interviews. Go ahead.
I got some of that News Corp money now.
Yeah, and if you're on Facebook, make sure you go to Dollar Bin Bandits page, and then go to the Dollar Bin Banter. That's our fan page. We're always posting stuff about comic books we bought, different discussion items. I love the fact that people are posting their comics and stuff like that. So really, we're building a nice community. So Dollar Bin Banter on Facebook, and the Dollar Bin Bandits business page, that's also on Facebook too. And we're on Twitter, and we're on Instagram.
And in fact, we are also on Blue Sky. I don't know how much of a flash in the pan that is. And Kara, which is Blue Sky artist.
What?
You haven't heard Blue Sky?
Things. No, I work for Blue Sky.
Yeah.
I'm done with Blue Sky. It's no more.
Wait, isn't it called Blue Sky? Well, anyway, I don't know. I see things popping up because people are always, getting mad at the current social medias, and they're like, well, we want privacy. I mean, I understand on the artist end, they're like, oh, they're going to start mining our stuff for AI, and so they're like leaving other places. So I kind of understand that. But anyway, we try to be where the professionals and the fans are. So look for us everywhere. We are
like a bad
mind,
rash,
and you shall join it. You cannot resist.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. I think we should probably
we discussed comics,
up.
movies.
Yeah. We will be at Terrificon.
We will be at Terrificon. I will be at Terrificon. These guys have been at Terrificon.
Hopefully, I'll be at Terrificon too.
Yeah.
So maybe all three of us will be at Terrificon, and we will be easily identifiable with our TeePublic shirts, which you guys should also buy. And we can get a flash mob going.
We'll be at Terrificon.
Those are coming back. We're going to bring those back, the flash mobs.
Totally.
Jim Lee can't say no to us.
Patreon. So eventually we're going to try to do something with Patreon. That's all I'll put out there. I think that gives us a little bit more flexibility than the one that exists through Buzzsprout, but we need to figure out like the whole logistics end of it. But anyway, we want to give you an avenue to give us money is really what we're looking
That's
for.
what it boils down to. We want
I know you guys are looking for it. You guys like, how can we give you guys money?
Look, we want to give the Dollar Bin Bandits more. How about this? Anyone who's listening.
It's a reciprocal relationship is what it is.
Yeah. How about this? Would you, as the listener, be willing to shell out money to us, the podcast creators of the Dollar Bin Bandits, money for something a little bit extra? Okay. All right. Maybe a full form episode. Not that because, we give you a pretty damn long episode as it is. But would you want to see more? Let's justify this cost to you. All right. Yeah. So if that's something you'd be interested in, let us know. Okay. Send us an email. Send us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think. And maybe we can make that happen for you.
I want to see an episode where Oren fights a thunderstorm.
It's already passed.
Did that happen?
That's it?
I think it just did.
Because that would be Patreon gold.
It saw me glaring at my ceiling, and it knew time to move on.
It just ran away.
I don't want to deal with this guy.
Yeah. Sounds like you're driving with the top down.
I got a baseball bat right there. I'll run right outside.
All right, guys. So dollarbinbandits@gmail.com is where you can email us, but we're all over the socials, so you can also comment there. Like Joe said, like Oren said, we want to make sure that this is a community and that, we're getting feedback from you guys, and we want to know what kind of questions you want us to ask some of these guests. And we love bringing these interviews to you, so keep listening. Keep viewing.
Yeah. All right. That's all we got for you all. All right. Thank you, Mike and Oren, for helping, for us three creating this thing called the Dollar Bin Bandits. It's been fun thus far. Let's say we do another 3 years, huh?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Ooh. Thanks, everybody out there for listening. We appreciate all the fans, and we appreciate everybody out there. So,
just innocent men.
Just innocent men. All right. Later.
Bye.
Peace.